4 days after my C-section, Mom grabbed my hair. "Your sister needs this room. Get out!" Dad yelled. "She's making me uncomfortable." My sister smiled. Finally. I stood on the porch with my newborn, crying. Then my husband pulled up. That night we found out she'd planned this for months. She thought it'd be funny. What he did made Mom call me at 3 a.m. begging him to stop. It was already too late. My parents threw me out 4 days after my C-section. "Your sister's coming with her newborn baby, and she needs the room more than you," they said. I was holding Emma, barely able to walk, and my mother grabbed my hair when I asked to stay one more day. "You're walking around just fine. Now pack your things and stop being so dramatic." My sister looked at me and smiled. "Good. Finally, I can use this room without you taking up all the space." When my husband pulled up and saw what they'd done to us, what he did next destroyed them completely. But let me back up and tell you how we got here. My name is Maya, and this happened 6 months ago. I was 27, married to Ryan for 3 years. We'd been trying for a baby for 2 years, and when I finally got pregnant, we were so happy we couldn't stop smiling. My parents, Linda and Robert, seemed happy too. My younger sister, Nicole, who's 24, had always been the golden child, but I figured having a grandchild would be special for everyone. The pregnancy was horrible. I got preeclampsia and had to have an emergency C-section at 37 weeks. Emma was born healthy, but I could barely move without wanting to scream. Ryan had to go back to work right away because he'd used all his vacation time when I was on bed rest. Since I couldn't be alone with a newborn while recovering from surgery, we asked my parents if I could stay with them for 10 days. They lived in a 4-bedroom house in Phoenix and said yes right away. After 3 days in the hospital, I went to my parents' house. My incision was healing, but every step felt like being stabbed. The first sign something was wrong came when I walked through the door. My mother barely looked at Emma and started complaining about how crying might wake her up at night. My father just grunted from his recliner and went back to watching TV. I was so tired and hurt so bad, I didn't say anything. That first night was hell. I struggled to breastfeed Emma while trying not to tear my stitches. Every movement hurt. The next morning, my mother burst in without knocking, already dressed, that look on her face that meant trouble. "Maya, you need to pack your things. Nicole's coming over with baby Tyler today, and she needs this room more than you do." I stared at her. "What? Mom, I just had surgery 4 days ago. I can barely move." "You're walking around just fine," she snapped. "I've seen you going to the bathroom. Pack your things and quit acting so helpless." Her words hit me like a punch. "Mom, I can barely move. Let me at least rest so I can recover properly." That's when she did something I'll never forget. She grabbed a handful of my hair and yanked my head back, her face right in mine. "You're walking around just fine. Now pack your things and quit acting so helpless." Her grip plus my surgery pain made me cry out. Emma started screaming because she could tell I was freaking out. "Linda, get her out of here," my father yelled from downstairs. "This is too much." "You heard your father," my mother said, letting go of my hair. "Nicole will be here in an hour with Tyler. She's 7 weeks old, and Nicole needs the quiet and space to bond properly." "But Mom," I said, my face wet with tears. "I just had major surgery. Nicole had a natural birth 7 weeks ago. I can't." "Enough," she yelled. "Nicole has always been more mature than you. She married Daniel right after college, got her teaching credential, and now she's given us a beautiful granddaughter. You waited until you were 27 to get married, and now you're acting like this is some crisis." I'd watched them give Nicole a car for her 16th birthday while I got a card. I'd heard them brag about her teaching credential at every family dinner while barely mentioning my nursing program. But throwing me out after surgery? That was new. With shaking hands and tears running down my face, I started packing Emma's things. Every movement hurt. Bending over to pick up her clothes made my stomach burn. I had to stop every few minutes to catch my breath. My mother stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. She just watched, didn't move, didn't offer to take Emma. "This doesn't make any sense," I said, trying one more time. "I'm your daughter too. I just need a few more days days to heal. Nicole needs this room, and that's final, she said. She called last night saying she was overwhelmed and needed help. Unlike you, she doesn't create problems constantly. As I finished packing, I heard a car in the driveway. Nicole had arrived. I got Emma in her car seat and grabbed our bags. Walking down the stairs hurt so bad I had to grip the railing and take each step slowly. Nicole was in the living room holding Tyler and chatting with our parents like nothing was wrong. She looked up as I came down. "Oh, good. You're leaving," she said with a satisfied smile. "Finally, I can use this room without you taking up all the space." I stopped. Taking up space? Nicole, I just had surgery. She rolled her eyes. "Please, it's just surgery. Women have C-sections every day. I had Tyler naturally, and I'm fine. You're just making it into this huge thing for attention like you always do." I stood there holding my crying newborn, bags falling off my shoulders, cut from surgery burning, and watched my entire family treat me like I was just in the way. "I'm calling Ryan," I said quietly. "Good," my father said without looking up. "Maybe he can help you see reason." I stepped outside into the warm Arizona morning with Emma crying in my arms. Called Ryan with shaking hands. "Hey, honey," he answered. "How's it going over there?" I broke down and told him what happened. There was a long silence. "They did what?" His voice went very quiet. "They threw us out, Ryan. Nicole needs the room more than me, apparently." "I'm on my way. Don't move." 20 minutes later, Ryan's car pulled into the driveway. He got out and saw me sitting on the steps holding Emma and crying, surrounded by our bags. His hands were shaking. His jaw was so tight I could see the muscle moving. He walked up and gently took Emma from my arms. "Are you okay? How's your incision?" "It hurts so bad," I whispered. "I think I might have pulled something when Mom grabbed my hair." Ryan's jaw clenched. He helped me to the car, got Emma in her seat, and loaded our bags. Then he stopped, stood there for a moment, and I saw something change in his face. I watched him walk toward the front door. Part of me wanted to stop him, to just leave, let it go, never look back. But another part of me knew that if we drove away now, my parents would spin this into some story where I was the problem. They'd tell everyone I left because I was being difficult. They'd never face what they'd done. Ryan knocked. My mother opened it, looking annoyed. "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you and Robert. Right now. We're busy with Nicole and the baby." Ryan said it again, his voice harder. "Now." Something in his tone made her step aside. Ryan walked into the living room where my parents and Nicole were sitting. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," he said quietly. "You threw out your daughter and granddaughter 4 days after major surgery." "Now listen here, Ryan," my father started. "No, you listen, Robert." Ryan's voice got louder. "Your daughter just had her stomach cut open to bring your granddaughter into the world. She can barely walk, and you threw her out like she's nothing. Nicole needed the space more," my mother said. "Nicole," Ryan turned to my sister, "had a natural birth 7 weeks ago. She's been home recovering this entire time. Maya had surgery 4 days ago." "Oh, come on," Nicole said, bouncing Tyler on her knee. "It's not that serious. She's making it bigger than it is." That's when Ryan pulled out his phone and started recording. "Say that again," he said to Nicole. "Tell me exactly why you think your sister, who had major surgery 4 days ago, is making it bigger than it is." "Ryan, put that away," my mother snapped. "No, I want this on record. I want everyone to see exactly who you people are." My father stood up. "You need to leave, now." "I'm leaving," Ryan said, "but not before I make sure everyone understands what happened here. Linda, you physically hurt your daughter and forced her out of the house 4 days after she had a C-section. Robert, you told her she was too much and refused to even look at your own granddaughter. And Nicole, you're celebrating getting a room while your sister is in pain." He turned the camera to himself. "This is what happened to my wife and newborn daughter today. Her own family threw them out 4 days after surgery because her sister decided she wanted the room." "Put that phone down!" my mother yelled, reaching for it. Ryan stepped back. "No, this is going everywhere. Your friends, your church, your neighbors, everyone you work with is going to see what kind of people you really are." "You wouldn't dare," Nicole said, looking scared. "Watch me," Ryan said. He walked to the kitchen and grabbed the family iPad from the counter. "Your mom's Facebook is still logged in on here. I can see every friend, every group, every connection. I'm posting this to her wall and tagging everyone." My mother went white. "Ryan, please, you're misunderstanding the situation." "I understand perfectly," he said. "You chose your golden child over your daughter who just had surgery. You physically hurt her when she asked for basic decency, and now you're going to face what comes next." He finished typing and looked up. "Done. It's posted. And I've sent it to your church group, your book club, and every single person I could find. The room went crazy. My mother started crying. My father started yelling, and Nicole was trying to grab Ryan's phone. "You've destroyed us," my mother cried. "No," Ryan said calmly. "You destroyed yourselves. I'm just making sure everyone sees the truth." He walked toward the door, then turned back. "One more thing. Maya's inheritance from her grandmother. The $35,000 she was planning to use for Emma's college fund? I've already contacted the lawyer and started the process to claim it. All of it. You'll never see a penny." My mother's face went white. She'd been counting on that money. Grandmother Ruth had left it to me in an account my parents co-signed when I was a minor, but I'd never claimed it because I didn't want to upset them. "She can't do that," my father said. "She can, and she will," Ryan said. He looked at them one more time. "Goodbye. Don't contact us again. Ever." He left them standing there in shock. The next few hours were a blur. Ryan took me to urgent care to check my incision, which thankfully wasn't torn, just pulled. We went to a hotel because I couldn't face our apartment stairs. At the hotel, I finally had a moment to process everything. I sat in the bathroom staring at my reflection. My hair was messed up from where my mother had grabbed it. My eyes were red and swollen. I looked like hell because I felt like hell. Emma was sleeping in her crib, completely unaware of the chaos. Ryan was on his laptop watching the responses to his video. "Maya, you need to see this," he said quietly. I walked over and looked at the screen. The video had been shared dozens of times in just a few hours. The comments were pouring in, but it wasn't just strangers. People from our community, people who knew my family, were expressing their shock. Mrs. Patterson, my old high school counselor, had written, "I worked with Maya for 4 years. She was one of the most hardworking students I ever had. This breaks my heart." My childhood friend Sophia had commented, "Maya, I'm so sorry. I still remember your 8th grade science fair. You won first place and your parents left early to watch Nicole's soccer practice. You cried in the bathroom." My Aunt Claire, my mother's own sister, had written, "Linda, I watched that video 3 times. There is no context that justifies this behavior. I'm ashamed to call you my sister." But it was another comment thread that stopped me cold. People were discussing my parents' history of favoritism. Apparently, it had been obvious to everyone for years. Mrs. Henderson, a family friend, wrote, "I remember at Maya's high school graduation, her parents barely clapped for her, but gave Nicole a standing ovation when she won some minor award at the middle school ceremony the same week." Someone else added, "When Maya got married, Linda spent the whole reception talking about Nicole's upcoming engagement instead of celebrating her older daughter." I sat there reading comment after comment, and something shifted inside me. It wasn't just in my head. The pattern of favoritism that I'd normalized, that I'd convinced myself I was imagining, had been visible to everyone around us for years. By evening, the video had been shared hundreds of times within our community. Ryan showed me a screenshot of my mother's Facebook. She'd posted a status, "Please stop sharing that video. You don't know the full context." The responses to her post were brutal. Person after person was demanding to know what possible justification there could be for throwing out a daughter after surgery. Around midnight, Ryan's phone rang. It was Daniel, Nicole's husband. His voice was strange. "Ryan, I need to talk to you. Both of you. Can you meet me somewhere? I can't do this over the phone." We arranged to meet at a 24-hour diner across town. I didn't want to go. I was exhausted and still in pain, but something in Daniel's voice told me this was important. Daniel looked terrible when he arrived, like he hadn't slept in days. Dark circles under his eyes. His hands were shaking when he ordered coffee. He sat across from us in the booth and stared at the table for a long moment before speaking. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Nicole didn't just decide to come over yesterday. She planned this." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "She's been jealous of you throughout your entire pregnancy," Daniel said. He wrapped his hands around the coffee cup like he needed something to hold on to. "She kept saying how you were getting all the attention, how your parents were more excited about Emma than they were about Tyler. When he was born 7 weeks ago, she was furious that you were still the center of attention." He took a sip of coffee and continued. "When you went into labor, she called your parents and told them she was struggling. She specifically asked them to give her your old room. She said it would teach you a lesson about not being the center of attention. She thought it would be funny." I felt like I'd been punched. "She planned this? She planned to kick me out after surgery?" Daniel nodded miserably. "When I got home tonight and confronted her about the video, she laughed. She actually laughed and said you deserved it for being dramatic. I told her that was sick. She said, said I was overreacting just like you. Ryan's face was turning red with anger. She thought it would be funny to force a woman who just had surgery out of her parents' house? I'm so sorry, Daniel said. I had no idea how bad it was until I saw that video. I knew Nicole could be competitive with you, but this is something else. And there's more. He paused, staring into his coffee. She's been having an affair with the assistant principal at her school. It started about a year ago, before Tyler was born. I found out tonight. I went through her phone after our fight. The hits just kept coming. My sister wasn't just cruel. She was a cheater and a liar. Daniel looked up at us, his eyes wet. I'm filing for divorce, and I'm going to fight for full custody of Tyler. I don't want my daughter growing up thinking this kind of behavior is normal. I don't want her learning from her mother that it's okay to hurt people for fun. We talked for another hour in that diner. Daniel shared more details about Nicole's behavior and my parents' involvement in the plan. Apparently, they'd all discussed it beforehand. They agreed that I was too needy and needed to learn independence. My own parents had sat around and planned my humiliation with my sister. The realization made me physically sick. The next morning, Ryan created a follow-up post explaining what Daniel had told us. Daniel had sent screenshots of text messages showing Nicole bragging to her friends about her plan to get me kicked out. One message said, "Finally teaching Maya she's not special." Another said, "You should have seen her face when Mom grabbed her hair. Priceless." This second post was even more damaging than the first. People were calling them psychopaths, sociopaths, and worse. My mother called crying. "Maya, please, you have to get Ryan to take down those posts. We're being destroyed." That's what happens when people see who you really are, I said. We're your parents. Parents don't throw their children out after surgery. I don't know who you are anymore. Do you actually regret what you did? I asked. Or do you just regret that everyone found out? There was a long silence. We regret that it went this far, she whispered. So you regret the consequences, not your actions. I'm done. The consequences came fast. My mother lost her job at the medical office when patients complained. My father lost his biggest client and had to close his business. Nicole's affair came out during Daniel's divorce proceedings, and she lost primary custody of Tyler. When my parents threatened to sue us for defamation, a lawyer named Margaret Ramirez reached out and offered to represent us pro bono. Her daughter had been through something similar. The lawsuit threat disappeared within 2 weeks. The only person I was worried about was grandmother Ruth. She lived in an assisted living facility 2 hours away, and my mother had been visiting her, trying to convince her I was the villain. When Grandma asked to see me, I drove there with my heart pounding. She looked so small and frail. "Maya, sweetheart," she whispered, "your mother says you're destroying the family. Is that true?" I showed her everything. The video, Nicole's texts, all of it. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she squeezed my hand hard. "Maya," she said, "I needed to see this myself. Your mother is very convincing." She reached for the call button. "Can you send in my lawyer, please?" Within an hour, she'd confirmed her will. "Everything goes to Maya," she told him, "and I want it in writing that Linda cannot contest this." "You did the right thing," she told me. "You protected your daughter. I'm proud of you." 6 months later, here's where things stand. Daniel got custody of Tyler and brings her to visit Emma regularly. The cousins play together, unaware of what happened between their mothers. Ryan and I are stronger than ever. Emma is healthy and happy and the light of our lives. We're planning to move to Colorado next year for a fresh start. The last time I saw my mother was at a pharmacy. Her hair had gone gray. She'd lost weight. Her hands shook as she reached toward Emma. She started crying. "Please," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." I looked at her for a long moment. "I believe you're sorry," I said, "but being sorry doesn't undo what you did. It doesn't give me back the first week of my daughter's life." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I just miss you. I miss Emma." "Then you should have thought of that before you threw us out," I said. "You chose this. Now you have to live with it." I walked away and never looked back. For weeks after everything happened, I struggled with guilt. Despite everything they'd done, they were still my family. I started seeing a therapist. In one of our sessions, she asked me a question that changed everything. If Emma came to you in 20 years and told you her parents threw her out after surgery, what would you tell her? I started crying. I'd tell her to run and never look back. That's when I understood. I used to think family meant loyalty, no matter what. Turns out, family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them most.